Welcome to Dear Business Coach, the podcast. My name's Elizabeth, coming to you from the Walker Consulting Works studio. Find one thing to move your business forward today. With conversations, spotlights, interviews, articles, and free resources. Listen, follow, and subscribe on social media. Dear Business Coach Podcast. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. And don't forget Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. All it takes sometimes is one little thing to move your business forward today. Today, we want to tell you about a friend of the Dear Business Coach podcast. If you're thinking about renovating your home or business, check out our friends at Active Wall. Located in Martinsville, Virginia, Active Wall produces high-quality moving, window, wall, and door systems that open up your space. Their innovative product lines include folding units, pivot doors, and gas strut windows that are custom designed to add style, function, and wow factor to residential and commercial settings. Energy efficient, thermally broken aluminum and proprietary hardware are at the core of Active Wall's design process. Their skilled team collaborates closely with architects, designers, and homeowners across the nation to ensure that the aesthetic and functional needs of the end customer are met. The products are made in the USA and they ship nationwide. Active Wall has a showroom and design center in Martinsville that is open by appointment so you can see and feel the quality of their craftsmanship. As a special for listeners of the Dear Business Coach podcast, you can use the promotional code Elizabeth for 5% off your order. Visit activewall.com/Elizabeth for more information and a free quote. Thank you to Active Wall of Martinsville, Virginia, for being a friend of the Dear Business Coach podcast. Visit activewall.com/Elizabeth to discover how Active Wall can open up your space. We're talking today on the Dear Business Coach podcast, and in your profile on LinkedIn, I see a done for you Google ads for dad-owned small businesses. Get your time and life back. Mommy CEO to 2 under 5. And you're the host and author of Dad Talk. Where can people find you? So while we're listening and talking, it's Anneliese Stork Vance. Did I say it correctly?
Anneliese, yeah. Yep. And Stork's my maiden name. It's just so people can find me, but I've been married for 17 years. So it's Anneliese Vance. And on LinkedIn is probably where I hang out the most. I do have a Facebook page for Never Miss a Moment, and then nevermissamomentconsulting.com. I respond to all of the inquiries on there personally. And then I do have my monthly audio room, Dad Talk, where I'm interviewing another dad, and that dad then becomes my co-author the next month for my newsletter. So I'm on
cool.
We just put out edition 3, also something Deanna pushed me to do. Okay. And I'm really grateful because after 3 months, we're over 425 subscribers, which is very humbling. So like, Anneliese, I need you to figure this out or I may go out of business. It was that serious. And so, yeah, I'm super passionate about data. I could talk for the next 38 minutes about data. I'm so passionate about it. Deanna actually gets on me. She's like, Anneliese, you need to relax about the data. I can't, I just can't unsee it. So yes, I am so passionate about data, and anyone who knows me or works with me knows that I'm going to figure out what's going on if there's a problem or what's going well. I like to give those stories too, but it's nice to be able to protect people from those things, because bigger agencies, and I'm not putting them down, Elizabeth, they have their place, but they're too big and they have too many accounts they're looking at to get that granular. And he would have lost a lot of money. he probably would have gone out of business, unfortunately. And not because they were malicious, just because they're spread so thin. So having someone that can put eyes on it and be that, family owned company that can give them that custom experience is what we pride ourselves on.
Right. So you have a personal investment to see him succeed because you have
Yes.
that relationship. And when you are looking at, I mean, if I were doing that kind of advertising myself, I wouldn't even know how to look at the data to
Yeah.
begin with.
Yeah.
And now I certainly can play around, right,
Sure.
in the reports that Google gives me on my free YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I understand, I think, what I'm looking at, but then what do I do with that? Really nothing. How in the world did you figure out that there is a bot? How did you do that?
Oh, well, so one of the dashboards they had, um, hooked up to their website. So Google Analytics, shows where the data or where the referrals were coming in from, right? Like whether it was from Google, whether it was from Facebook. So if you're listening and you're doing Google ads, or if you have a website and you have Google Analytics set up, it's free. I highly recommend it. And then
Okay.
look at it. Don't just have it for free and then don't look at it. But not as fast as I would have liked. So then I went to him and I said, look, we need to fix your website. Like I know he'd been putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. Like it's okay, it's okay. But when this happened, I was like, no, it's not okay anymore. So tips I give business owners and web designers don't always agree with me because it doesn't look as pretty. And I get that you still want it to look pretty, but you also want it to be functional and convert. And I think that there's a mix of both. But we took his email off of his, like visible off of his website, and we put a button so it clicks and goes to his email. So a bot isn't going to be able to just, because he was
Mhm.
getting emails too. And then on his particular site, because he's moving, he does 4 different kinds of moving. So he does apartment, condo, nursing home, office, and residential. So there's a button they have to click on it, and then that goes through to a unique form that is specific to questions about apartment, questions about office, question about nursing home, because they're different. So it also gives the other customer, or gives the client a more custom experience. He loved it because he's getting better questions answered for it. So it took some time. It took about a month to put this together, but the second we got it live, all bot activity disappeared. So,
Yeah.
and now the numbers are true. Another indication you may have bot activity if you're doing Google Ads yourself or if someone else is doing it for you. A click-through rate in the 20s can look really nice, but it's probably not realistic that 1 out of 4 people are clicking on your ads. So there's probably some bots that are jacking it up. Double-digit click-through rates are okay, but when they start to trend up to 20, which is kind of where he was, and I was like, oh, great, like look at our click-through rate, because I
Yeah.
hadn't dealt with this yet. But one of the indications that indicate bot activity is a super high click-through rate, an unrealistically high click-through rate, which a click-through rate, if you're listening and you're like, what is she talking about? It's when someone sees your ad and clicks on it and goes through to your website. So it's the percentage of how many times you show up versus how many times you're clicked on.
Hey, it's Elizabeth coming to you from the Walker Consulting Works studio in Floyd, Virginia, host and producer of the Dear Business Coach podcast. Check out the live audio events every Monday at 9:30 and 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time. I have live 15-minute segments. And the first segment at 9:30 is all about being a podcast guest. If you're a professional and you'd like some tips for being on a podcast, then definitely tune in 15 minutes, 9:30 a.m. morning Eastern Time. And that's on Mondays. 9:45, right afterwards, is another 15-minute segment And this is for storytelling for professional interviews. If you are interested in speaking to a room or on a podcast, and you're an executive, a team leader, if you have a presentation to give, if you're talking to board members, if you are talking to a camera, you want to have some stories that are signature stories, possibly that people use to get to know you. You can tell stories that share personal and professional experiences. That's at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time. My name's Elizabeth Walker. Look for me on LinkedIn and Facebook. Announcing a course for therapists starting a private practice. The affiliate link is on dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. This is an affiliate ad read brought to you from the Walker Consulting Works studio. My name is Elizabeth, host and producer of the Dear Business Coach podcast and producer at Walker Consulting Works. And Dr. Brianna Willie is a guest, a former guest of the podcast. She was a guest back in February talking about her coaching business. She helps private practice owners. She helps people who are in the helping business. Now, right now, Dr. Brianna Willie wants me to tell you that Attainable Vision is offering 50% off her course for starting a private practice. And she says, because it feels like summer. So this is a course for therapists who want to start their businesses. And she's offering half off right now for a summer sale. And visit dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. Find Dr. Brianna Willie's affiliate link there in the bright, beautiful purple square that says starting a private practice. At the Jefferson Center, this is a masterclass with Clayton Fletcher, hosted by yours truly. Okay, over on the other side of the Dear Business Coach podcast, here is the Walker Consulting Works studio. And with Walker Consulting Works, I am presenting to you Clayton Fletcher and his masterclass on October 18th, 2024. That's a Friday at 11 a.m. It's a full day seminar. Learn from an international professional stand-up comedy headliner what comedians know that all business people should know. This is based on the #1 book on Amazon, The ROI of LOL, that he co-authored with Steve Cody. His new special, Middle Child Syndrome, is available on all streaming platforms, and his book, ROI of LOL, recently debuted at #1 on Amazon's business charts. So this is a masterclass hosted by me, Elizabeth Walker, host and producer of the Dear Business Coach podcast and producer and owner at Walker Consulting Works. So you can catch this event one day only in the beautiful Jefferson Center Historical Building in downtown Roanoke, Virginia. I will have catered lunch, morning coffee, and tea. And what you want to think about here is bringing your team. I have 50 seats available, and I'm also, you want to reserve your seat and or seats for your team. Please check out at Walker Consulting Works YouTube channel for the full interview with Mr. Clayton Fletcher about his workshop and the work he does in the power of laughter, his masterclass. Looking to see you there.
Sometimes I just do an ROI audit. I give them the information and that's enough. And that's what they need. And we part ways, and I'm okay with that. Our hope is that either we or one of my strategic marketing partners can help them and I can make that introduction, right? So it's kind of my introductory funnel, my introductory, like, you ever go to like a tasting, like when you got wedding, or right, like you're going to taste the different cake to pick the one, like it's the tasting, so to speak. Or as my friend Craig Andrews would say, it's like the coffee before the dinner date. And so my husband will also, if they're thinking of doing Google Ads or if they're already doing Google Ads, he does a Google audit for them and tells them, hey, this is what I'm seeing. These are red flags. This is going really well. Like, not everything we tell them is bad. Like, I look at everything from a non-emotional perspective and just tell them what's going on. The good, the bad, the like just all of it, so that they can kind of simmer down like where they want to start. But sometimes I'm referring them into my husband. Sometimes I'm referring them over to my SEO gal, my social media gal. young lady that I helped yesterday, who we've been building a relationship on LinkedIn for several months. I referred her to my website gal. So, and I have multiple people, different price points, different platforms. So that's the marketing vendor broker side of my business. And what I tell people, we're not that company that, because we only do Google ads in house, that's all I'm going to recommend to you. I've actually told people, no, we will not help you with Google ads. It's the wrong move for you. But this is who you need to help. And I trust them just as much. And I have a relationship with them for being a referral partner where whether I refer it over here or I refer it over here, I'm getting compensated. So I can be completely objective in who I'm recommending. But it all does start with that data or even that conversation. Sometimes people don't have data. This young lady I helped yesterday didn't have data. She didn't have a website. That's why I referred her to someone to help her with the website, because that's her first step. And, we talked about Google ads and I said, look, I think in the industry you're in, you're going to get swallowed up. I think it'd be a waste of your money. I would actually have social media be your next step. And then I kind of just water drop things so that they can come back and be like, hey, like, okay, we got the website taken care of. I think I'm ready for the social media piece, because they've worked with me, who I recommended before, did a really good job. They know that I'm going to recommend solid people. Okay, well, now I'm ready for this. Who do you know? And so it keeps them coming back. It keeps that stickiness going, so to speak. So I hope I answered your question. If you need me to clarify anything or add anything else, I'm happy to.
Right. Yeah, no, that is huge. That's one of my favorite things about being able to talk to professionals, right? When you come to that place when you think I just need some help and somebody says, hold on, wait a minute, don't go spending a bunch of money on Google ads. You need to start over here first. And that's
Yeah.
why we talk to Anneliese. Because I've gotten that advice before. Stop, don't go do something. And that's good advice. So
Well, a
yeah.
client, if I can tell this story real quick, and
Mm-hmm.
I know, Anneliese,
Please do.
stop. I have another question. She came to me. We'd met in an audio room back in January. I think it was January. And then she knew of me and I guess was following me right in the background, and I didn't know it, right? That's the most wild thing to me about LinkedIn is like, okay, like people are watching me. Cool. So we were in another audio room together, and I heard her speak on stage and I'm like, who is this girl? I reached out to the host. I'm like, can you connect us? She sounds amazing. She sends me a DM. I've been wanting to meet you. Who are you? And she had a little bit more shy of a personality. She wasn't like the most, outgoing, reach out first kind of person. So I guess she kind of needed like me to reach out first. And then she was like, oh, it's okay. Like the water's safe. And we met. She wanted to do Google ads. She was trying to get funding for a grant of some sort. She was in some kind of internship. I never really know how to describe it, but and she needed like a recommendation by that night. And I was like, well, that's kind of short notice. And I was like, I heard what she was trying to do. I said, you don't want to do Google ads. I said, you will get 0% return. And the people giving you the money should not want to give money to do Google ads. Like I could have very easily like, oh yeah, it's this much. This is our management fee. This is our onboarding fee, blah, blah. But I was like, no. But I said, I can put together a marketing team for you. We got off the phone at 1. By 5, I had the marketing team built. By 2 a.m., she had $4,000 in her account to fund her advertising project. So that's what I do by having all these relationships. They're literally people I can DM, text, call, and like, hey, are you available right now? Can you handle this? Like, is this something you'd want to take on? And I have multiple people in each category so that I can get them the best fit. This young lady yesterday, she just started her business like 2 months ago, maybe. She doesn't need WordPress, SEO, perfect site. She needs like Squarespace, and I have a Squarespace contact who's amazing, who actually does my site, because I've only been in business 2.5 or 3.5 years, but I've only had a website for 2. And I still have Squarespace and I'm okay with that. It works for my company right now. And I like being that person being like, okay, you could invest that if you want, or you can, get the fun size bag of M&Ms and not get the king size and just start here and, save your money, save your cash flow and build up. And I like to save people from buyer's remorse. I mean, there's definitely those times to make those big investments, and I've made them. But there's also times where you can just relax and slow down and,
That's hard to hear.
feel, just get your toe wet and, just get your bearings and you can build up. I didn't start having an audio room and having a newsletter and being on podcasts multiple times a month. And I didn't start there. I started 2 years ago, actually in June, launching a LinkedIn page, a website, and a Facebook page. That was it. And just posting 2 to 3 times a week. Like that's where Anneliese started, having no idea what she was doing, and no idea, the trajectory that everything was going to take. But I just took a step. And I think sometimes business owners need to hear, like, you don't suck at life if you are not running a marathon yet. It's all right. So, and the people that look like they're running marathons, someone else is running for them and they're taking credit for the score. Like generally, like they've outsourced a lot of it and you're mad that they hired, Usain Bolt to, go sprint for them. And you're like just starting, like going from walking to jogging. It's okay. I ran country and I did rowing in college. So I know that transition, and you have to start just maybe jogging to get a quarter of a mile and like, oh, okay, I didn't die. I'm good. Let me, do 3/4 tomorrow. It's all right.
Right. Well, and it's helpful if I can talk with an expert like you to get a handle on how the basics work, right? Because I feel like for example, right now, I've already learned a few things just by talking to you.
Yeah.
And it's not because I paid for, a huge advertising campaign to let the dollars go out the window as I try to collect data. You have experience in what the data looks like.
Yeah.
So while you can maybe take over is a strong word, but while you are saying do it for you marketing, right? Dropping the pencil. So yes, you can sort of take over for me, but it sounds like I'm learning a lot of the really important basics of how this technology really works.
Yes. And you bring up such an important point, if I can jump off it for 10 seconds, is it is done for you. And some of our customers, they send us a check every month. I haven't talked to them in 6 months. They know it's fine because their phone's ringing and that works for them.
Mm-hmm.
I have other people that, I might send a monthly report, like my moving guy. And when things are going well, like last month, he always says, Anneliese, if you're not hearing from me, everything's fine. When he starts calling me a lot, I'm like, ooh, okay, we've got a problem. Now, generally, I can tell before he's going to call. I'm like, oh, Ron's probably going to call soon. Or, oh, I'm not going to hear from him this month because he, got as many scheduled jobs as he did, inquiries. So he's happy. He's busy. He's fine. And it's summer. So, I also know kind of the seasons. But he has learned so much along the way. And I do slow down on those conversations. That's part of what they get working with me, is that education. They're not going to be able to go do it themselves. I mean, they could try if they wanted. But they aren't the kind of people that are going to want to, right? But they understand what's happening, why I'm doing what I'm doing. On my monthly reports, I'm like, hey, this is a conclusion that I drew. Like, what do you think? Do you want to have a conversation? So I'm always inviting that collaboration to happen because I need their industry expertise. Like, I'll ask questions like, hey, is this normal for this time of year? Like, it doesn't seem normal to me, but maybe this is totally normal and it's fine. But like, I thought it might be a red flag. Maybe it's a yellow flag, but like, I just wanted to bring it to your attention. And then if I don't hear from them, I'm like, oh, okay, probably nothing. But if I do, they're like, oh yeah, thanks so much for telling me, like, this is weird. Like, let's talk about it.
Yeah,
So,
it sounds a little bit like if you had a financial advisor, right? I'm not in the market all day long, but I do want to, and haven't you gotten the advice before? Don't, try not to invest in something you don't understand. Well, okay, I need to understand how it works, but that does not eliminate the need for the professional to take care of the important details.
yes, yes, exactly. That's exactly it. And yeah, I always say people can be as involved or uninvolved as they want. I mean, we have clients, again, we don't hear from for like months at a time, like, because, and we can tell from the data, like, there's no need. But if they ever wanted to, it's funny, like I said, we just launched these 2 campaigns like the same week, like last month. And one is like emailing my husband every day, like, okay, this happened, help me understand. And the other's like, I'm getting calls, I'm cool, looks like it's working. Okay, like, I mean, just completely different personalities, involvement levels, both dads of young kids. Um, but so they can go hang with their kids if they want, or they can, hang with their kids while they're asking a question. Like, either one, it's going to be taken care of. But if they want to understand, we are so big on educating people. That's why we have our audits and our consultations before they even sign up with us, because we want them to feel comfortable. We want them to understand, hey, when you start, like, if we start a brand new campaign for someone, you're going to go through a learning phase. It might take a week for your impressions to start in Google to recognize your campaign. Don't freak out. It's okay. Dad comes in and talks from a grandpa's perspective. Friday, my husband comes in and talks from a dad and a husband perspective. Wednesday, I always ask a dad, why do dads matter, and how and why do you put family first? So I have to go back and see. I mean, we have months of those, which is, Elizabeth, the most amazing thing to me is I have not run out of dads yet to do a new one every single Wednesday, to develop relationships enough that someone wants to come in and volunteer an hour of their time and share. I mean, there's a mutual benefit for them as well, right? But then to want to co-author a newsletter with me. And
Yeah.
it's like, always have a new one. It's just amazing. But I get to give that perspective from their perspective, because I'm, again, female and a mom and a wife and a daughter. I am not any of the guy things. So I lean on them. But it's also so encouraging to me to see the passion of these dads to want to be good dads and good husbands and good men, because I don't care where your political beliefs are. This is not a political statement, but the media focuses on all the negative about guys and makes them out to be like, sorry if you're a Simpsons fan, but like the Homer Simpson buffoon,
Right.
like, king of the hill, kind of like, just versus society puts on their shoulders. They have to do it all. Um, Dustin and I, my husband, we've been married for 17 and a half years in September. And, I've known him throughout July 4th next year will be 20 years, which is crazy. Half my life. And I watch the struggle mentally and emotionally. And he's not the most emotional guy, right? But it's like that, like, inner turmoil that you can see going on. And he would much rather go take our kids somewhere, but he's like, but I have to do this account because I also have to take care of this family, right? Because they're counting on me. And there's just that, like, pull tug. And it's really just, it's delegation, and it's organization, and it's things, they're skills that take time to learn if they don't know them. Again, like, probably our prototypical client is they either had this idea for a company and launched it, but it was because they had a skill in this area, not marketing and data, right? Or advertising. Like they're clueless. They need this, but they have no idea what they're doing. And not because they're not smart people. They are some of the smartest, savviest people you will ever meet. They just didn't learn it, right? It's not, okay, I put up a shingle and all of a sudden, like, I don't know if you're a Matrix fan or I'm dating myself here,
Yeah.
but like, I know Kung Fu. Like,
Right.
it doesn't work that way. You learn through trial and error.
And so it's
Absolutely.
Anneliese, and that's
Yes.
LinkedIn and Never Miss a Moment Consulting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's coming up is to find you on you have LinkedIn audio events and a
Mhm.
newsletter, and we can get involved with both of those through your LinkedIn page.
Yep. And I post 6 times a week, and you're welcome to come hang out in my comment section or send me a DM. Just say that um, if you have enough credits to say it. Um, little trick. If you can't send me a personalized DM and you come to my post and you comment and say, "Hey, I heard you on Elizabeth," or when she does a post about this, "Hey, I heard you, I'd like to talk," and you tag me, it
Right.
bypasses that personalized invite. So,
Yeah.
good.
Well, fun. Well, Anneliese, thank you so much for coming to the Dear Business Coach podcast today. And we'll put your LinkedIn profile in the show notes.
Awesome.
And I'm definitely going to catch you on your next LinkedIn Live. Very cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I'm super excited about it. I'm going to learn a lot. I'm literally facilitating so I can learn things for my family. So I'm excited.
Great. All right. Well, I appreciate you being here so much, and you have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you next time.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you so much for joining me today. My name's Elizabeth, coming to you from the Walker Consulting Work Studio in Floyd, Virginia. This has been an episode of Dear Business Coach. Also joining us this summer series, Exposing Excellence with Roanoke Valley Leaders, is John Lusher. You can find him on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/John Lusher. He's the chaos coordinator at the Social Buzz Lab, a strategy-first digital marketing team helping brands, B2B companies, and individuals build buzz on social media for over 15 years, fueled by coffee and a love of marketing. So catch John Lusher here on Exposing Excellence with Roanoke Valley Leaders, a limited summer series for June, July, and August here on the Dear Business Coach podcast with me, your host, Elizabeth Walker. Join us every other Wednesday during the summer for a limited summer podcast series, Exposing Excellence with Roanoke Valley Leaders. Don't forget to subscribe on dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com/subscribe. And this way you can receive emails each week with dedicated links to the episodes and contact information for each professional highlighted on the show.